Hi, Jesse here with Cisco Academy Help, the video tutorial series that hopefully helps you dive deeper into the world of Cisco technology. My goal with this video tutorial series is help illustrate the information that you went through throughout the week and how it associates to the labs and packet tracers that they're trying to have you go through. Again, you might find tutorial series that go faster, that just try to get you to learn, or not learn, but just go through the work and get it done. But my hope is to really go through each one of these points and steps and try to help you understand what they're trying to convey to you. That being said, today we're going through Packet Tracer 6.4.1.2, configuring initial routing settings. In your chapter reading, at this point, you are learning about the boot up process of a router and some of the initial configuration that goes into that router. You learned about when you first power on your router, it first goes through the post, which is it's a hardware check system to make sure everything's there, and then it moves down to the bootstrap, which the bootstrap copies any information from the ROM or RAM and locates the iOS. Again, the next step down, we go ahead and load that iOS image, which is located in VRAM, and then finally goes down and loads the saved configuration file that's located within your flash. I try to memorize that. I try to come up with some sort of visual cues, like you take your horse, you tie it to a post, and that's the first step. And then the next step, you need to adjust your bootstrap, and next you need to check or load your iOS. You try to figure out something like that to help you memorize it, because it is going to be stuff that they're going to ask you on different test questions, as well as your CCNT or your CCNA. So try to figure out a way to visualize that information and store it. That being said, let's jump right into the packet tracer. Objectives of this packet tracer: part one is to verify the default router configurations. Part two, configure and verify the initial router configuration. And part three, save the running configuration file. Background is, in this activity, you perform basic router configurations. You will secure access to the CLI, which is, again, the command line interface, and console port using encrypted and plain text passwords. You will also configure messages for users logged into the router. These banners also warn unauthorized users that access is prohibited. Finally, you will verify and save the running configuration. So let's just go ahead and scroll down. Part 1, verifying the default router configuration. Step 1, establish a console connection to your router. Okay, so to do that, again, you're going to come down to the connections orange lightning bolt, and you'll click on that. From there, you're going to go ahead and select a console cable. That's that blue one. And if you select the wrong one, or you connect to the wrong port, say, for example, you connect to the fast Ethernet port, and you didn't intend to do that, just come down to the cable that you selected and just click on it. It goes away, just like that. So let's reselect that. We're going to go into the RS232 connector or interface, and we're going to go down to the console port on the router. And again, you'll know that you have the proper connection because it gives you these two black circles. From there, we're going to go ahead and click on the PCA. We're going to go to terminal, because we're going to open up a terminal interface. Again, do take a second and memorize a lot of this information, because again, it'll come up in previous or in future tests, your baud rate and things like that. Click OK, and now we are in a terminal. From here, we start off initially right in the user configuration mode. Okay, so we're going to jump right to step 2. Enter privilege mode and examine the current configuration. You can access all router commands from privilege exec mode. However, because many of the privilege commands configure operating parameters, privileged access should be password protected to prevent unauthorized use. To do that, to secure that, we need to enter in a password to secure it. So let's move from user mode and go up to privilege exec mode by typing enable or en tab. And as well, you can just type en and then enter, and it'll go ahead and go up to privilege mode. From there, it says, notice that the prompt changed in the configuration to reflect the privilege exec mode. So if you look right here, you can see we had this little less than symbol that was before the router, and now we have a pound sign letting us know that we are indeed in privilege mode. Enter the show running configuration command. Okay, show running config, and if you just type in run, it'll also do that. From here, we pull up the current running configuration. You can see right here our host name, the version of the software that we're running, as we go ahead and click down, oh, I kind of passed something up. You can see our licensing for the software that we're running. You can see the type of interfaces that this router has. You have a gigabit Ethernet 0001, so we have 2 gigabit. We have 2 serial interface. We also have 4 fast Ethernet interfaces, as well as a virtual VLAN 1 interface. And we have our console port, auxiliary, as well as our VTY lines 0 through 4. And that's it. When you get to the end, that's the end of the running configuration. Okay. Question in 2C right here, it says answer the following questions. What is your router's host name? Well, at this current point, because we haven't changed it, it is router. It says it right there on the far left. How many fast Ethernet interfaces does the router have? And as we scroll back up, again, you can see right here, you have 4 of them. How many gigabit interfaces does your router have? Well, you can scroll back up. You can see right here, you have 1, 2 total. How many serial interfaces does your router have? Again, 2, just like that. What is the range of the values shown in the VTY lines? So we can scroll back down to our management ports, and right here, you can see right here, your VTY lines goes from 0 to 4. Going to step 2D, display the current contents of the NVRAM by typing the show startup configuration. Show start config. Startup configuration isn't present. What? Why is it like that? Well, the question is, why does the router respond with the starter configuration is not present message? Well, have we saved anything yet? No. Since we haven't saved any kind of starting configuration, there is nothing to display. That is the answer. Part 2, configure and verify the initial routing configuration. To configure the parameters on a router, you may be required to move between various configuration modes. Notice how the command prompt changes as you navigate through the router. Step 1, configure the initial settings on the router. Note, if you have difficulty remembering the commands, refer to the content of this topic. For this topic, the commands are the same as if you configured a switch. Basically what it's trying to tell you there. So from here, we're going to go ahead and in step 1A, we're going to go ahead and give it a host name of router 1. To do that, any kind of configurations, we have to go into what mode? Configuration mode. Pretty straightforward. To do that, you can type conft or you can, type configure terminal. Whatever you would like. From here, we want to give the router a host name. Pretty simple command, host name. And we want to make sure it's router 1. It is case sensitive for the completion points that they give you over here, so make sure to do a capital R. In step 1B, it says use the following passwords: console, let me in; privilege exec, unencrypted, Cisco; privilege exec encrypted is it's a secret. Okay, so to do that, we want to go ahead and we'll start with the privilege exec unencrypted password. To do that, we type in enable because we want to enable the password for it. So we'll enable password and we'll type in Cisco. Okay. From there, it asks us to type in the encrypted password for exec mode. To do that, we want to enable a secret password of it's a secret. Enter. Voila. From there, it asks us to go ahead and secure the console. To do that, we have to, because it's a line interface, so we type in line console 0, and we are in that interface now. From there, we need to type the password in, so password, and that is let me in. Now, there's an important command that we enter in after the password. We want to tell it to ask for the password at login. As soon as you sign in to that console interface, it should ask you for a password. So we want to type the command login to specify where that password is supposed to be at. From there, we can exit. Okay, encrypt all plain text passwords. To do that, we type the command service. Well, actually, let me do something real quick. I'm going to do a show running command. Typically, if you're in privilege mode, you can just type in show run for show running configuration. When you're in configuration mode or any other mode, you can put the word do at the beginning, and it'll go ahead and do the command. So do show run configuration, and it'll pull up the running configuration. If you look right now, enable password, it's a secret is still unencrypted. And if we come down to the line console, you can see that the password is still unencrypted. So to encrypt that, we type the command service password encrypt. Press enter. It goes ahead and encrypts it, and you can go back to that command, and you can see that right now the secret password is encrypted. And if we go down to the line console 0, that is now encrypted. Okay. Create a message of the day banner. Okay, to do that, we're doing a banner message. So we have to type the command banner. And it's a message of the day, so it's a initialism or acronym. Initialism. Acronym. MOTD, message of the day. And then we have to put in a special character. At this point, we're going to go ahead and use the pound sign and then type in the message of the day. Unauthorized access is strictly, not stickly, strictly prohibited. Oh, special character. Close out, and there we go. All right, step 2, verifying the initial settings on router 1. Verify the initial settings by viewing the configuration on routing 1. What is the command to do that? Easy. We'll go ahead and we'll go back down to privilege mode, and we'll type in the show running configuration, and that will show your currently running configurations that you've entered in. So we can see our password right there. You can see the host name for the router is right there. And again, all our interfaces, as well as our console password that we've entered in. If you're ever in the running configuration of any type, you can always hit the Q button and it takes you right out of that and back into whatever mode you started in. Okay, what is the next question? Verify the initial settings. Yep, we did that. Exit the console session until you see the following message. R1, console 0 is now available. So we'll type the end command to end. Oh, there we go. Sorry, the exit command. And as you can see, we have the R1 console 0 is now available. Return to get started. And we have right here our message of the day banner that we entered in. The user access verification login screen that we typed in, right? And then the password that it is asking for us to enter in. So let me in. Oh, let me in. There we go. Let's see. So press enter. You should see your message of the day, password. Okay, why should every router have a message of the day banner? Well, it's important to verify why you can't access this device. If you do not put a message of the day banner, it doesn't specify whether or not you have access to it. That, for example, if you put a welcome banner on there, it says legally it says, welcome, come on in. If you can crack this password, you're welcome. So if you put an unauthorized access is strictly prohibited banner of the day, it says to any would-be attackers or people that are just trying to gain access, you need to have authorization to this device. If not, we will prosecute you. So that's the reason why you have banner message of the day banners. If you do not get prompted with a password, what is the console line command that you forgot to configure? We talked about it earlier. The login command within the not the VTY line, but the line console interface. You type in the password, and after you type in the password, you have to tell that password to come up at the login screen. So that's what you would have to type. Okay, D, it says, enter the password necessary to return to privilege exec mode. Okay, so we'll enable to get back to user. What was that? I forget. It's a secret. Hello. It's a secret. There we go. Okay, we're back. Okay. Why would the enable secret password allow access to the privilege exec mode and the enable password is no longer valid? The reason is once you enter a enable secret password, the encrypted password, that overrides any kind of enable password, because that is a clear text password and anybody could see it. If you have the running configuration open, someone can look over your shoulder and see that. It's an insecure way of storing a password. So that enable secret, which is again it's encrypted, it overrides that enable password. That's the basic answer for that. Okay, if you configure any more passwords on the router, what are they displayed in a configuration file in plain text or encrypted form? Well, we looked at that earlier in the show run. Again, we have encryption right here, and then we come down to the line console and it's encrypted. So again, explain, it says, because we entered the service password encrypt command, it went ahead and encrypted the password. This is not that complicated of an encryption, you can go online and you can copy and paste this into certain websites, and it'll tell you exactly what the password is. But at least it will deter the person that's walking into the room, that's looking over their shoulder, what that password is. They won't be able to see it. But if someone does get access, physical access to your console port, they can figure out what your password is. Okay, from there, we'll go down to part 3. And from here, it says save your running configuration file. Step 1, save the configuration file to the NVRAM. Okay. You have configured the initial settings for router 1. Now back up the running configuration file to your NVRAM. Ensure that the changes made are not lost if the system is rebooted or powered or loses power. What command did you enter to save your configuration file to the NVRAM? Pretty simple. The copy running config to starting config. And again, when you enter that command, it will ask you what is your destination file. In this case, we want to use the default, which is the starting config, but we could enter in anything. You could type in Jesse's configuration, or you could type in your company's name configuration, whatever you want it to be. But in this case, it does give us the option of just using the default configuration name, starting config, in which we'll go ahead and click OK and or enter, and it goes ahead and saves it that way. What is the shortest ambiguous version of this command? Show, run, or sorry, copy, run, start. Does the same thing. Okay. What command displays the contents of the NVRAM? Okay. Show starting config. And that shows the contents of that starting configuration file. All right, scrolling down, verify that all parameters configured are recorded. If not, analyze the output and determine which commands are entered incorrectly. And then you can also click the results as shown in the instruction window. Okay, so what that's saying is that if you click the check results, and we'll go ahead and exit out of this, you can go ahead and go to assessment item, and it shows you right here what you've done and what you've done incorrectly. So in this case, I purposely went ahead and left out the enable password and enable secret. So you could see that it was incorrectly entered in, so that you can go back and correct that information. So you can click close, and you can go ahead and bring this back over here. We'll scroll down to that section. And that's where we're looking right there. Go to the terminal. Go back to configuration mode. We'll type again. Enable secret. Sorry, enable password. Cisco. Enable secret. It's a secret. And there we go. Now we're completely done with the lab, but it gives you a little bit of an extra credit. Okay. Step 2, optional bonus. Save the startup configuration to the flash. Although you will learn more about managing the flash storage in a router later in this chapter, you may be interested to know to know now that to blah blah to be interested to know now that backup procedure. You can save your startup configuration file to flash. By default, the router still loads the starting configuration from the NVRAM, but if the NVRAM becomes corrupt, you can store your startup configuration by copying it over to the flash. Complete the following steps to save the startup configuration to flash. So, okay, to do that, pretty simple. We'll go back down to privilege mode and do a show flash. From here, it asks how many files are currently stored in flash. Well, we have 1, 2, 3. 3 of them. Which of these files would you guess is the OS? Well, we're working on a C. Let me see. I forgot to look at it. I think it's a C19 model, or C1900 model. So you can see right here, this is going to be our OS right there. And then you can also tell because usually the OS is the largest file that's in your flash directory, which is associated within your length. Okay. Save your starting configuration file to the flash using the following commands. Okay, so copy, startup to flash. And we'll just hit enter. Again, we're going to leave it as starting configuration. And there we go. Let's see, the router prompts you to store the file on flash using the file name. Okay, so yeah. That basically, what I've told you before, that is your default. You press enter and it saves it as the default. And now we can go ahead and back. I can arrow back up, do show flash, and we can see right there, there's your starting configuration file. That being said, that is the end of this lab. I hope it was informative and helpful to see how, mistakes are made and how to correct those mistakes, how the packet tracer helps you determine what things you might have done correctly or incorrectly, as well as the different steps of how to save your running configuration, how to do a basic configuration on a router. I hope that was well illustrated to you. If I missed anything, definitely let me know. Send me an email at notciscoacademy@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment within the comment section on this YouTube video. Thank you again, and have a great day.